Right behind me is everything that will be in play for Bitcoin price this whole week, unless $19,000 is taken out to the downside. Look right behind me. You might pause the video and or come back to this moment and put this kind of stuff on your chart. These 4-hour 10, the daily 10 EMA, the weekly 10, the horizontals, and the two crisscross orange trend lines that we have here, and in particular at the bottom, the blue box. And what we're going to do in this video, so new viewers, if you're new to my channel, just go get through this video, put on your chart what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to walk you through in this video how to use this and what to expect price to do and what these two vertical white lines are and why they're so important. We're going to dive into the micro and the large time frames, focusing on weekly candle and monthly candle structure, and then taking the magnifying glass or the microscope to that so you can know what to expect on the 15-minute or 5-minute candles. Are you ready? Let's get some Bitcoin. Okay, and again, for my returning viewers, typically know that when I ask viewers to put on your chart what I have on here, it's usually a good idea. And if you are a community member or a Discord member and you just don't want to do all that, well, that's why I have my my chart streaming live Monday through Friday just for the community, and then Friday night through Sunday night for public YouTube. But I don't make it public throughout the week because that's where most of the good trades are. And so this is what we got. It's a little busier than what I typically have going on, right? So there are a lot of things in play. If I can point out the most important things, or actually let's do the least important. These trend lines here, the made by the rotated rectangle that's orange, and this one here, they're likely the least important. Okay, the October candle open and September candle open and weekly 10 and this guy down here are the most important. So blue line and blue, you can just do the blue line if you don't want to throw on the weekly 10, because the weekly 10's right there. Blue line and blue line, or box, September candle open, October candle open. Bitcoin will interact with these. These are your bumpers, all right? And if you are using more smaller candles, then that's when the 4-hour 10 and the 4-hour 10 here, the red line, and the daily 10 EMA, that's when those are going to come into play. So you can get general change of direction on the very small candles. I'm telling you, new viewers, you're going to do yourself such a big favor if you try to put this type of stuff on your chart, and you will see price interact. And again, there's one exception. If price goes below the bottom blue box, well, then I think all this is out of play, because I think you're going to get acceleration and continuation to the downside. All right, so a lot of this video is going to focus on this white line and this white line, particular to how so this is the time axis, right? Wednesday, early in the morning, New York, these are New York time, and then Friday at 10 a.m. This week is going to be pretty crazy because Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there are high economic impact events coming out, and Bitcoin, as most people know, follows SPX down to the 5-minute candle. The correlation gets weaker with larger candles such as weekly and monthly. However, on the small candles, the correlation is extremely strong between Bitcoin and SPX, or even IXIC, which is the NASDAQ composite. All right. And because of these high, so between these white lines, so here's the thesis of this video. By the end of the video, I'm going to show you key levels on the monthly and weekly candles. Typically, what I will show you during those moments will get continuation, as in the trend will go that way for a while after a threshold is broken. But because of this high impact economic data, anything that happens between here, if it triggers a typical threshold to create continuation, the probabilities of that trigger the chances of that trigger truly getting continuation, it's a little lower, right? It's actually a lot lower. Does it mean everything's a fake out. For example, the weekly candle and monthly candle flip green, and that's a clear fake out and I should short. No, it doesn't mean that. It simply means typical continuation triggers, which I'm going to show and define for you on the large candles, and then we're going to match it to this stuff over here, right? You have to take them with a grain of salt, because usually during high impact economic events, you get bi-directional volatility, which means price goes up, then it goes down, then it goes back to the middle, and then it'll wait for the next play. Because that's how whales and hedge funds essentially train their bots to behave and trade for volatility only, not for continuation, to essentially run spot price up so that their futures shorts waiting up higher get hit, and then they sell on spot, which makes the underlying asset price drop. So they can almost, I wouldn't say guarantee, but have an extremely high probability trade to make money on futures. And it usually goes down, up, back to the middle, or up, down, back to the middle. So because of that, we're mixing. So this white, between these white lines, we have to understand that that might be what's happening, and we won't get continuation with the typical signals that I'm getting ready to show you. So let's jump straight to the large candles on the monthly right here. Follow me on Twitter, Cosasverdes with the number 2 afterward. I post some bomb charts on there, and the links to the Discord community, if you want to check that out with visual instructions, are in the description section of all my videos. And if you want to see what the YouTube tiers are like and how they're different from Discord, there's a join button right beside the subscribe button, and a 90-second video with pirates and skeletons will pop up describing what you get. And this is the time for returning viewers to go ahead and hit the hit the like button, smash that like for me, and then new viewers, as I'm getting to the monthly chart, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit the bell for all alerts for me, because I'm going to try to keep you in the know, and I'll walk you through what is in play. And I clearly, like, I'm making the habit in my videos to give you the bumpers that will affect Bitcoin price the most, that will interact with Bitcoin price the most obviously, and then what to expect from there. Okay. I'm on the, I'm not on the monthly chart. Now I'm on the monthly chart. Okay, now take a look at this. Does this look bullish to you? All right, this is the 69K top, 64K top, and this is going all the way back to 14K when Bitcoin ran up just phenomenally from the previous bear market lows. Let's zoom into this part. And this does matter. So I zoomed out for a purpose, because the idea that price has been essentially scaling down a mountain to get to this flat point, that's a big deal. So I zoomed out for a reason. Now we're zooming in. So remember, price was rolling down a hill. The candle bodies, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So the top of this one, bottoms of these, essentially stopped the ball. Like, it stopped rolling, right? And now what does this candle look like? Just think logically in terms of physics and just a ball rolling down a hill. It looks like it's going to start going again, right? So what could change that? Well, if this flips green, but particularly if price can get over the previous candle body height, right? So let's zoom into that part and look at what that was. So the opening of this one was, oh, I can't see it because the opening of this candle, again, I marked it off on the other chart that I had here, but it's right at 20K, psychological number, and that is the September candle open line that I had. So it's not, I didn't have 20K marked off just because it's 20K, but in terms of momentum and a ball rolling down a hill, even if Bitcoin price goes right up to 20K and doesn't pass it in that exact moment, the ball still is more likely to keep rolling down a hill, because it looks like the momentum is going to accelerate. Does that make sense? So the ball has stopped, starting to pick up some steam, and it looks like it's going to pick up more steam. And that the probability of October being red, I feel that it doesn't greatly change in terms of you have an edge to the upside until Bitcoin gets above 20K. Now, does the edge or does the probability of a green October change a little bit once this candle flips green above 19.4 and change? Yeah, it does a little bit, but you don't have, in my opinion, a tradable edge. All right. And again, we're going to take into effect the high impact economic data here in a minute. So let's just cover the general traditional rules, and then we'll address how the white vertical white lines will affect this, and how you can interpret price. Okay, that's the momentum on the weekly, or on the monthly. This is the monthly chart. All right, let's get rid of these guys. Now, actually, I'll keep those on. Now let's go to the weekly. All right, so again, the ball, let's just say, let's zoom out. So ball rolling down a hill from 69K top way up there. It looks like it's trying to level off, right? So let's zoom into current price down here. Now, from a weekly perspective, it appears that Bitcoin is not out of the woods, particularly until this weekly candle can flip green. Clearly, a closure would be better. So the Bitcoin week closes on Sunday. And I think that's going to be a key portion of my analysis, is the weekly candle closure. What color is the week? All right, because it's going to be after all of the whale fake out stuff Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Making sense? All right, so I think that if you can pick one thing to focus on the rest of this week, is to realize that the small term time frame, you have your bumpers from the beginning of the video, but I don't think you're going to be able to have an edge for continuation or continue trading in one direction without taking profit a whole bunch within hours, or close out all your positions before you go to sleep. I don't think you're going to have that probability or that edge until, either way, up or down, until this candle closes. So during the week, or typically without high impact economic data, if this were to flip green, I usually would say you have a tradable edge to the upside for that week, especially after this backfill, right? As it's very common, a green candle will start off red, go backfill half the previous candle or the candle body, and sometimes down to the wick. And if it were to do that at the beginning of the week and then flip green, you typically have a tradable edge to the upside, particularly when you've consolidated for 4 weeks, right? So these 4 weeks right here, after almost wanting to fall off this cliff. You see that? So the momentum would be to the upside. All right, now let's go back to my previous chart with the small term time frames and all the busy stuff on there. All right, so between these white lines, right, this line and this line, Tradingview glitched out on me. If you see candles, the monthly and or weekly candles flip, just realize that price can easily just go up, down, back to the middle. And if it flips green, realize that that is between these lines, and the probability of continuation to the upside is not that great because it's just a bunch of wishy-washy stuff. And that pattern can happen multiple times. You can have up, down, back to the middle Wednesday, down, up, back to the middle Thursday, and then maybe get continuation on Friday or a continuation on Friday, one of those. But I really don't anticipate continuation before Friday. I would say Friday through Sunday is the earliest I would expect a strong continuation to happen, because large players who are going to be moving Bitcoin and the stock market, I think they're going to want wiggle room, bidirectional volatility, particularly Wednesday and Thursday, and not let it rip up or down until Friday or until Monday or Tuesday of next week. I feel that that would be even more probable. Okay? Therefore, in the meantime, I feel that these bumpers right behind me are going to be even more important than they usually are, because I think it's just going to be bidirectional volatility, and it's going to essentially play pinball. And if you want general direction on, hey, where's it going in the next hour, you can use the 4-hour 10 EMA as a general guide. If you're below the 4-hour 10 EMA, while you're not between these lines, so when you're between these lines, what I'm about to say isn't the greatest. Like, it just doesn't work. before you get to these lines, if price is below the 4-hour 10, there's very, very little chance that you're going to have a massive move to the upside. In order to have a decent move to the upside that goes more than 1.5%, 2%, maybe, test this level up here to 20K. If that's going to happen before, if an upside move is going to happen before Wednesday, all right, what you're going to see, I'm going to zoom into this part here. I'm going to go to, let's say, the 5-minute chart. What you're going to be seeing here is price will, let's go. I'm going to extend the 4-hour 10 EMA like that, and price will have to get above here and then start working its way up. And the slope of the 4-hour 10 will become positive. When that happens, and again, before Wednesday, before that first white line, before this line over here, if that happens before this line, then from a very short-term time frame or micro time frame, you have a tradable edge with a shelf life of a few hours, several hours, right? Particularly, or perhaps even until Wednesday. But all bets are off. Once this price hits the time axis right here, then you're going to expect just very high frequency trading algorithms take over, and it's not humanly possible over time to win against those to win against those bots. I mean, humans really you need to focus on when you have an edge and when bots are not messing stuff around. And Wednesday through Friday, you could really get chopped up, especially if you're new to trying to click around with your money and make money on futures. So if you're new, Wednesday through Friday, it might be a good time just to sit out or go very, very, very lightly. All right. Now, after the dust settles and this time axis over here has been passed. So let's say, price does whatever, and it's now past this line and Friday is done. Even before the weekly closure, I think that the weekly and monthly candle flipping colors, I think then you can interpret those as a better edge. So let's go to the weekly candle. So let's say Friday is done, all the high impact economic data has come out, and let's say it was red almost all day Friday. And then before a Sunday, before this closes at Sunday at 8 p.m. New York time, which is about 1 a.m. on Monday for London and 2 a.m. Monday for Berlin. If during the weekend this flips green, then I think you have a short-term time frame edge to the upside. Especially if it were red after, Friday's high impact economic data and then it flips green, I think you have an edge short-term and micro time frame to the upside. If on Sunday this closes green, then the next candle, I would expect a backfill of some degree, maybe to this candle body here. But if that next candle flips green after a backfill, so let's say Monday, Tuesday backfill, if that one flips green at that point, then I think you have an edge to trade in one direction, or in that case, an up direction, perhaps for that whole week. But this week that we're in right now, I don't think that's the case, but it usually is. However, this week is going to be crazy. All right, and let's go to the monthly candle here. And again, the monthly candle right now, it'll flip. Actually, let's put a pin in this. Let's put a line right here and then go back to the weekly. See how close these are? So the monthly flips green here, and this is why it could be extra powerful. Monthly flips green almost at the exact same spot as the weekly. This is the weekly candle, right? Therefore, if after Friday, let's say Friday at 2 p.m., this is red, and then it flips green after that, that means the weekly and the monthly are going to flip green, or will have flipped green. Does that make sense? And that will invite, almost like if you have in the summertime a Coke can open and those little yellow jackets come, or you're outside at night and mosquitoes, you invite mosquitoes. So that will invite buyers from both algorithms, bots, retail, just normal one-off whales. It will invite them to become buyers, and it could be a pivot, right? But it's this week, the timing, the time axis, the vertical is extra important. And until that point, I would simply use the bumpers and realize bi-directional volatility should be expected. I wouldn't expect continuation anytime before Friday of this week. That makes sense. But you could get some really nasty moves, like a 5% spike up on Bitcoin in 1 hour, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily get continuation. The odds of continuation are lower because it's usually bi-directional, up, down, back to the middle, or down, up, back to the middle. And let me recap one last thing, though. Everything that I said roughly gets invalidated if Bitcoin goes below this blue line and particularly uses as resistance. Then none of this will matter. It's just Bitcoin will essentially continue that roll down, and it will accelerate down with a high likelihood and a tradable edge. Don't forget about this line in context with everything I said from a time perspective, right? And all the bumpers. It's extra important. 19K or 18,900 is an extra pivotal point for Bitcoin right now, and price could really accelerate to the downside. Hopefully this was helpful. Feel free to go back to the beginning of the video and put as much as you can, especially the 4 horizontal lines. October open, September open, top blue line, bottom blue line, and throw on the weekly 10 if you can on an MTF EMA so you can see it on small candles. It's going to drastically help you this week with interpreting Bitcoin price and where it's going. Click this video right here if you want to check out a playlist of the most important crypto videos I've ever made, and click this video right here if you want to check out an altcoin that I covered recently that could get some pretty hot moves.